So today I don't have that much time, so I think I'm gonna spend 1.5 hours here. And yeah, I'm gonna do the Redux part of the FreeCodeCamp. So let's start. Redux is a state management framework. If I remember, this one is easy. Declare a star variable and assign it to the createStar method. The Redux star is an object which holds and manages application state. There's a method called createStar on the Redux object, which you use to create Redux star. The method takes a reducer, so I'm not sure if I should put Redux there. Yeah, makes sense. Redux star object provides several methods that allow you to interact with it. For example, you can retrieve the current state held in the Redux star object with the getState method. The code from the previous challenge is rewritten more concisely in the code editor. Use star.getState to retrieve. To retrieve the state from the star. Maybe just getState. And assign it to a new variable. I'm not sure if it should be const or let. So the Redux star takes these arguments, this state. No, it actually takes a function as an argument. Think of Redux actions as messengers that deliver information about events happening in your app through the Redux star. The star then conducts the business of updating state based on the action that occurred. Writing Redux actions is as simple as declaring an object with a type property. Declare an object action and give it a property type such the string logging. Declare an object action. I don't remember how to do this. I think it's like this. Define a function named action creator that returns the action object when called. The Redux star is the code in the code editor has an initialized state that's an object containing a login property currently set to false. So this yeah, this syntax is a little bit confusing for me because I don't remember really well. Current such false. There's also action creator called login action. which returns an action of type logging. Dispatch the logging action to the Redux store by calling the dispatch method and passing the action created by the logging action. Dispatch the logging action to the Redux store by calling the dispatch method. Also store dispatch logging action. It doesn't work. Dispatch method is what you use to dispatch actions through the Redux store. Calling store.dispatch, passing the value returned from an action creator sends an action back to the store. Also, it should be a logging action with this. Code editor has a previous example as well as the start of code editor has the previous example as well as the start of a reducer function for you. Fill in the body of the reducer function so that if it receives an action of type logging, returns a state object with logging set to true. So here is default state is equals state equals to default state, which is false. And the action is the function. Fill in the body of the reducer function so if it receives an action of type logging, it returns a state object with logging set to true. Returns a state state object with logging set to true. That's probably state logging. Yeah, the problem. So how can I get this? So now there's both true wrong there. Maybe just state here. So if it receives the problem is I don't know if this is push this or not. Oh, action here. And then if this is gonna turn this into true. Action.type. So I should put this here. Note that the current state and the dispatch action are passed to the reducer. So you can access the actions type directly with action.type. So here should be state.logging and then state.logging, or just return state. I think it's fine. Should be fine. So it's not returning the current state. So the way I was doing before, it works, but if I put 3, no, it's not gonna make any difference. Oh, it uses 3 here. Also, I have to return the object. Nice. The code editor has a star actions, and action creators set up for you. If you in the reducer function to handle multiple authentication actions. Use a JavaScript switch statement in the reducer. So I don't remember really well how the switch works, but I think it's like this. Then I'll probably, and here I put the cases. Doing the reducer function should handle multiple authentication actions. Use a JavaScript switch statement in the reducer to respond to different action events. This is a standard pattern in writing Redux reducers. The switch statement should switch over action.type. Also, switch the action.type and turn the appropriate authentication state. Note at this point, don't worry about state immutability. So we need to use a switch. The switch statement should switch over action.type and return the appropriate authentication state. Then return probably this. And then it's probably case default, but I don't remember if maybe it's the defaults only. I don't remember really well. Oh, but I don't think this is gonna change anything. Because both the action and the state are being passed in. Dispatching login user should update the authenticated property in the star state to true. So action.type logging and logout. I think that's correct. So it's probably what I'm returning. Last one I returned. Maybe I should do state that equals this. Yeah, now I don't know. So maybe if I erase this, it's probably not gonna change anything. Also, I need that. Pass this one. Yeah, which is what I'm doing here, actually, that time. So I have no idea what is wrong here. I'm just gonna look at the solution, to be honest. Maybe state authenticated, it goes through. But the last problem was like that, so the solution. So here is action.type. Maybe that's what's incorrect. And then this case is, oh, it's probably because the switch works different. Yeah, I'm already putting the if condition here. I forgot about that. Nice. Declare login and logout as const values and assign them to the strings logging and logout respectively. Then edit the auth reducer and the action creators to reference these constants instead of string values. Common practice when working. You can refactor the code to your working const declaration. So I think this is here that I should do. I think I remember this once really well. Way better than I remember the React stuff. Another method you have access to on the Redux store. Also need to understand a little bit better what's the difference between Redux and React, because I don't really know. Another method you have access to on the Redux store object is store.subscribe. This allows you to subscribe listener functions to the store, which are called whenever an action is dispatched against the store. One simple use for this method is to subscribe a function to your store that simply logs a message every time an action is received and the store is updated. Or the callback function that increments the global variable count every time the store receives an action. And pass this function into the store's.subscribe method. So I think I'm just gonna use function. Or a callback function that increments the global variable count. I wonder if I can use callback as the name. It's probably not good, but and pass this function into the star subscribe method. There are counter reducer and off reducer here and here. Functions providing the code editor along with a Redux star. Finish writing the root reducer. Root reducer. Function using the redux.combine reducers method. Combine reducers, then I probably should use counter reducer for count. This is gonna increment and decrement the state depending on the action. And then this is gonna change the authentication. So I should put off here, off reducer, counter reducer. Uh, I don't know if I should put specific names or not for this. Key code count and off reducer. Check key code off. Next, finish writing the switch statement notes reducer. So this one. So it receives an action. Here I should put add note. Next. It's gonna be note, add note probably. Or maybe not. So the start.dispatch add note below. Just getting the state and dispatching this method into the star. Which is this. It gets this thing here. There's basic notes reducer and add notes. Finish the body of add the notes function so that it returns an action object. So return add note probably. But it has to be an object, not a string. So but I'm not sure because this is not being highlighted, so yeah. Its value is not never read, so probably doing something wrong here. The object should include a type property with a value of add note. And also a text property set should denote data. Oh no, that makes more sense. And now it highlights. When you call the action creator, you pass in specific node information that you can access for the object. Next, finish writing the switch statement in the nodes reducer. You need to add a case that handles the add node text actions. This case should be triggered whenever there is an action of type add node, and it should return the text property on the incoming action as the new state. So case add node return text. Action no. So the state is this. The action is this. What is the state? Case handles that. This case should be triggered whenever there is an action of type add node. And you should return the text property. So it's probably action.text as the new state. Write both dispatches in the handle async. Okay, so let me see. There's an asynchronous data reducer. Takes state as default as a keyword argument, then action, then goes through a switch case to see if fetching is true or false, and users. Then there's the star here that takes this reducer and reducer.apply middleware juice.default, which assume that is a method from Redux. Requesting data, return type requesting data, receive data, return type received, just data. To include Redux tank middleware, pass it as an argument to Redux.apply middleware. This statement is then provided as second optional parameter to this createStar function. Take a look at the code at the bottom of the editor to see this. Then, to create an asynchronous action, you return a function in the action creator that takes dispatch as an argument. This. In this function, you can dispatch actions and perform asynchronous requests. This example, when an asynchronous request is simulated with a set timeout call. It's common to dispatch an action before initiating any asynchronous behavior so that your application state knows that some data is being requested. This state could display a loading icon, for instance. Then, once you receive the data, you dispatch another action which carries the data as a payload, along with the information that the action is completed. Remember that you're passing dispatch as a parameter to this special action creator. This is what you use to dispatch your actions. You simply pass the action directly to dispatch, and the middleware takes care of the rest. I think this is what you dispatch. Remember that you're passing dispatch as a parameter to dispatch an action creator. So what's gonna be this? This is what you use to dispatch your actions. You simply pass the actions directly to dispatch and the middleware takes care of the rest. Write both dispatches in the handle async action creator. So I think I need to put requesting data and received data, probably. Dispatch requesting data before the set timeout simulator API. So I need to do, but it's not clear. How I can access this. Because it's only going to be passed through here, so should I just write dispatch? Then after receive the pretend data, dispatch the received data. Because if it's just this, it can't be. Let's try. Yeah, I don't understand this. Maybe I should just receive data here. Stand. Oh, or maybe I should do dispatch data. Probably. No. It doesn't make sense because I'm passing one and then the other. Then after receive the pretend data, dispatch the received data action and passing in this data. No, I should handle asynchronous. Yeah, I don't understand this explanation. And pass as a function, pass the action events in it. Yeah, so here if it's requesting, but I tried that and it didn't work, so it can't be this. It's something like this though. It's important that the data variable is passed in as an argument of received data, which I also tried after the set timeout function. So it's probably what I'm doing wrong here. It is weird that there was a space there right underneath it, so I thought I was supposed to put it right below this thing here. Maybe this will work. Yeah, so from what I understand, this is the timeout here. Maybe this. Oh, oh, yeah, that makes a lot more sense. So I had to pass the, but I don't understand the logic here. So the argument is supposed to be a function, and then I'm passing the function. Oh no, this is a function as an argument of the dispatch function. So I guess it works like a normal function. The only difference is that the dispatch gets activated first. So this doesn't work. Maybe because I'm not calling. Oh, it works. Yeah, so I was wondering, it didn't make sense because if I'm passing the both arguments, it doesn't make sense because it's gonna be the same function. Then if I don't use the dispatch, also doesn't make sense to put the dispatch there. I didn't know you could put the function as an argument there. In this lesson, you implement a simple counter with Redux from scratch. The basics are provided in the code editor, but you have to fill in the details. Use the names that are provided and define inc action and action creators, the counter reducer, increment and decrement action types, and finally the Redux store. Once you're finished, you should be able to dispatch increment or decrement actions to the increment or decrement the state held in the store. And so probably not gonna remember everything. So with the reducer, so now here I don't remember really well. I think it's gonna be action. But then I'm not really sure. Or I should put the conditions on the counter reducer. I'll put count equals action. And then I'm gonna use this count on the reducer. Here is gonna be the same thing. Maybe they have should be different, right? Because it's the name. So maybe I should use just increment and increment and don't pass any arguments. Yeah, it's probably the correct thing to do. This is gonna be Redux dot create star. That should be lowercase again. And then I have to put counter reducer here, probably. If I did. Oh, because I didn't create a function. So state action. And I'm gonna put switch here. Action dot type. Case increments. The issue is I don't have state anywhere. Oh, I think it's correct. Okay, got all of them wrong. So it's not this. So I think the issue here is the state. Should decrement the state by 1. Basics are provided in the code editor. Should use the names that are provided and define action, inc action, dec action, action creators, the counter reducer, increment and the decrement action types, and finally the Redux star. So maybe I should pass in something here. I just don't know why, because then I don't. If I'm gonna use this, then I can't use this as an argument, and using this as here doesn't make sense. I think this logic makes sense because it's passing the action here, and I'm accessing action.type. Then I'm checking if it's increment or decrement. If it's increment, then plus equals 1. If it's decrement, minus. Here is correct as well, probably. Yeah, the mistake has to be here. I feel like I should be passing something here, but then I don't know how to make sense of it with this thing here. Maybe I should have another thing. Just check for the state. I'm not sure. Oh, so maybe it's not a function. It's probably what's incorrect. If I do like this, it works. Still not. I'll define a function name action creator. So it should be a function. Maybe I should return this instead. No, it doesn't work. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm gonna look at the solution. Don't want to spend much time on this. I think the biggest problem here is that this, I don't know what the state should be. I know it should be there, but so I think what is wrong here that I'm missing is probably that I have to pass something here that's gonna become the state. But maybe that doesn't make sense because this is supposed to go here. So I don't see anything wrong here. Maybe it was this that's wrong. State equals 0. Also, how should make equals 0? Oh, I didn't even read this. And I have to make type, yeah, obviously. Because I'm putting action.type there. I could make just count and then action.count and stuff. So what else am I missing here? Type. Oh, I'm not returning. There is a star and reducer in the code editor for managing to-do items. Finish writing that to-do case in the reducer to append a new to-do to this state. Finish writing that to-do case in the reducer to append a new to-do to this state. So it's probably state of push action. Don't mutate state here. So it's probably not this. Because that will change the state. There are a few ways to accomplish this with standard JavaScript or ES6. ES6. See if you can find a way to return a new array with the item from action to do appended to the end. Uh, I think should do. There we go. So this copies the first array and then adds this one. Nice. I'm happy that I remember that. Use the spread operator to return a new copy of state when to do is added. So I think it's the same thing as the before. It's with state instead. To return a new copy of state when I should do is added. So that should be a new copy. Well, it's the same thing. That's weird. I think it's because probably there was another solution on the previous one. Now they're trying to teach the spread operator. Time to practice removing items from an array. The spread operator can be used here as well. Other useful JavaScript methods include slice and concat. The reducer and action creator were modified to remove an item from an array based on the index of the item. So it's going to take an index, which is going to be, which has to choose this, which has to modify the state based on the index. Finish writing the reducer so a new state array is returned with the item at the specific index removed. So I don't remember really well what these functions do. I think I have to put something here. This doesn't work. So I think it has to be from 0 to the action. I'm gonna slice. I'm gonna concat this from state.slice action -1. Now the issue here is that I don't remember how these functions work. For obvious reasons, slices the array, concatenates them. That's the index and the order of the arguments. Then I'm not really sure. And I have to use these functions because I want to return a new one and not modify the original one. I'm guessing that's why. So let me see how much time I have. 36 minutes. Move an item from an array. Move an item. So there's still 12 to go. I think I'm gonna finish this 2 and stop here, and then I'll do the other section separately. The spread operator can be used here as well. Other useful JavaScript methods include slice and concat. The reducer and action creator modify to remove an item from an array based on the index of the item. So I have to use state and slice. Yeah, so the first is the beginning. Start and end. But is inclusive or not? Up to but not including. So how do I include then the last index? I just use slice gonna work. But then I have to concat somehow. There was a way to console log this. Yeah, so here's probably from action to the end. So I'm probably need to do what I was doing before. Dot concat state slice state action. So what I think this was supposed to do, probably not doing, is just let from 0 to the index that is given, and concatenate from that index until the end. Yeah, but I have to. Yeah, but this is not gonna include the action. So maybe if I do +1 here. Because this does include the action, so if the index is true, it's gonna be 0 and 1 the first. And then here, I would imagine that would be 3, 4, and 5. Yeah, but probably this one is just. It's weird because it's saying that it keeps the last element here. I don't know. I think I'm just gonna look. Action.index. Oh, I forgot to put the index. So the logic was correct before that I was doing. Yeah, so it uses state.length. So it is action.index. Action.index. And here I have to put state online. There we go. The Redux state and actions were modified to handle an object for this state. So this is the last one that I'm gonna do. The Redux state and actions were modified to handle an object for this state. Edit the code to return a new state object for actions with type online. Set the status property to the string online. So I need to put this online on the default state. So I wonder if I can do state dot action. Probably not. Dot type. No, so I have to use this thing here. Scratch this. There are several challenges worked with arrays, but there are ways to help reinforce state immutability when state is an object too. A useful tool for handling objects is the object.assign utility. Object.assign takes a target object and source objects and maps properties from the source objects to the target object. So I'm probably just gonna copy this. Takes a target object and source objects and maps properties from the source object to the target object. So I remember I had trouble with this. The target comes first, I think. So the target is the state. But now action true should be object true should be the object with the online property. Or yeah, it's the only thing that makes sense. Takes a target object and source objects and maps properties from the source object to the target object. Any matching properties are overwritten by properties in the source object. This behavior is commonly used to make shallow copies of objects by passing an empty object as the first argument, followed by the objects you want to copy. Also, it's gonna take this, it's gonna take this object and this object. And then it's gonna map through this pattern here. This creates a new object as a new object. Also, maybe I should do this here. Almost new object. And then here I should put the action type. The Redux state and actions were modified to handle an object for this state. So it's gonna take an object for this state. Edit the code to return a new state object for actions with type online. We set the status property to the string online. Also status here. Oh, I'm doing the wrong place. So I have status online, state, object true. And then I should return this here. So from what I'm thinking now, this is gonna create the object true. It's gonna be the same as the state, but with status online instead of offline. And then attached to this variable. Session action, so it doesn't work. And should not mutate state. So maybe if I do the other way. Yeah, I don't know. I don't feel like researching this and watching videos about it, so should be the object true should be the updated key value pair of your state. So it's the other way that I have to do. Your state. Yeah, now it's probably gonna work. Yeah, there we go. So remember that being confusing on which one to use where. To understand there. I think I'm gonna stop here because I don't have a lot of time left. And this next session is probably gonna take a lot of time to do. So I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna finish this some other day. Let me see first. Yeah, the backends. I think I'm gonna merge the two together. So see you.